Hey there, budgeteers. Are you ready to unlock the power of each payday and take control of your finances like a boss? Introducing the Payday Power Planner from New Money Habits. This isn't your average budgeting tool. Oh no. With the Payday Power Planner, you'll harness the unique rhythm of your paychecks to supercharge your financial game. Say goodbye to the confusion of monthly budgets and hello to the clarity of every payday. You'll know exactly when money is coming in and when it's going out, giving you the edge you need to stay on top of your finances. But that's not all. With the Payday Power Planner, you'll easily spot whether you're rocking a surplus or facing a deficit. Armed with this knowledge, you'll make informed decisions that set you up for financial success. It's time to transform your relationship with money and create the new money habits you need to achieve financial freedom. Get your hands on the Payday Power Planner from New Money Habits today and start making every dollar count. Don't let financial stress hold you back. Create a better plan for your money and seize the power of your pay period and thrive with the Payday Power Planner. Visit newmoneyhabits.com now to grab your free copy and unleash your financial potential. On this episode of the New Money Habits podcast, we sit down with the money make-under and spending coach, Mary Ann Stenquist, and ask her what drives people to overspend. What's up, budgeteers, and welcome to the New Money Habits podcast. I'm your host and one of the co-founders of New Money Habits, Coach Nino Villa. And today on the New Money Habits podcast, we have with us Mary Ann, who is the money make-under and spending coach who helps people curb their overspending. And we will discuss the different types of overspenders, how and why people overspend, and we'll even talk about a new habit you could start today to help curb your overspending. If you have any questions, be sure to hit us up on social at New Money Habits and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. If you want to help out the show, consider leaving a 5-star rating and review. We cannot thank you enough for leaving those 5-star ratings and reviews. They truly help us to spread this message of hope to people looking for a better plan for their money. Now let's get into today's episode. I'm so excited. Today we have the pleasure of introducing Mary Ann Stenquist, affectionately known as the Money Make-Under Coach and Spending Coach. Mary Ann is on a mission to revolutionize the way we think about spending and saving. After transitioning from a full-time career to work from home with only partial income, Mary Ann faced the daunting challenge of maintaining financial stability for her family while pursuing her desire to stay at home and raise her children. Does this sound familiar? Well, many of us grapple with the same types of dilemmas, wanting financial success but feeling constrained by our current income. Mary Ann's journey led her to a powerful realization. True financial freedom isn't just about making more money. It's about spending less and saving more. With this insight, she founded Money Make-Under, a platform dedicated to helping individuals transform their shopping habits and achieve their financial goals. Through her free quiz, comprehensive shopper's guide, online courses, and personalized coaching, Mary Ann empowers people to identify their unique shopping style and make sustainable changes for lasting financial wellness. Her approach isn't about strict budgeting, it's about mastering the art of spending wisely and saving strategically. So whether you're living within your means or striving to break free from financial constraints, Mary Ann is here to guide you on your journey to financial empowerment. Join us as we discuss her expertise and discover practical strategies for cultivating healthier money habits. Welcome, Mary Ann. I'm so excited to have you with us today.
Thank you. Likewise, I am thrilled to be here.
So as I teed you up, you're the money make-under and spending coach. Tell us a little bit more about what that means.
Yeah, I found myself in an interesting predicament where I was trying to budget and the budgeting wasn't working. It was working on paper, but it wasn't working at the end of the month, and I couldn't figure out why. I tried different types of budgets. I tried I read all the finance books and nothing worked. I was still overspending. And so I thought, okay, before just throwing in the towel, I really want to try to stay home if I can before returning to work, and the bills have got to be paid. How can I still fix our finances? And I decided to look at our spending, and I decided to look at what I was spending the money on. And that's when I was shocked at all the money that was being spent unintentionally. And I had been saying for months and months, I want to do this, but we don't have the money. That's too expensive. And then I saw all the hundreds and hundreds of dollars being spent on things we didn't care about. And I went, well, that's the problem. It's not the budget, it's the spending. And that's when I really just became passionate that spending isn't a budgeting problem. It's a spending problem. And I wanted to focus solely on spending because when I did research, the two pieces of advice were just stop spending and just make a budget. And for overspenders, just stopping spending, it's impossible. You can't do it. And so you just don't. And the budgeting wasn't working. And so I really felt like there was this gap in how to help people overcome overspending. And I learned it through my own difficulties with spending. And I just was astounded at the research and did my own research and thought we need to be sharing this. We need to be talking about this because a lot of people are not being helped by traditional budgeting, and we can't just leave them out. We need to include, and everyone can benefit by learning how to spend less.
You have a quiz, and I took this quiz, and I was actually kind of surprised as I was filling the quiz out. I was like, what kind of spender are you going to tell me that I am? Because I'm not. I'm just not a spender, or so I thought. So tell me a little bit about these types of spenders or the type of people that you find yourself working with.
Sure. So as I was looking at my spending, I saw these trends and patterns emerge. All the times I was spending to get bargains and good deals. All the times I was feeling really emotionally teed up, and so I just needed to get away from that emotion and spend. So I would go out and spend money. And I asked myself, do these patterns, are they unique to me, or are they unique to all people that struggle with overspending? And so I found in my own spending habits and then in other overspenders that there's 6 spending types or 6 reasons or main indicators that drive us to overspend. And I tend to work with people from all different types because in truth, we're all of the spending types at different times. But what the spending types quiz does is it identifies your primary spending type. It identifies what is most valuable to you. And so that quiz really helps you identify, I'm a bargain spender, so I spend most of my money and overspend most on bargains. And that's a place to start because just looking at overspending is so overwhelming. And for myself, I'm all of the spending types, but I am primarily an emotional spender. And so I was able to look at what am I emotionally spending on and what is driving that emotion? What am I running away from? And it's just been such an enlightening journey that really I just want more people to learn about and to join with me on the journey.
Well, not only was I taken aback by the results, because when I was taking your spender type quiz, the entire time I'm like, nope, I'm not a spender, I'm a saver, right? Because what we normally hear traditionally is you're either a saver or you're a spender. I'm more of a saver than a spender. So I'm like, again, what are you going to tell me about me? But
Yeah.
even as you're talking about overspending, the first time you kind of used that word, I thought, well, I don't overspend. So again, I'm kind of challenging your line of thinking until you kept sharing. And then I realized, hold on, because I'm a necessity spender, that was what the results of my quiz was, and it was spot on as it described what a necessity spender is. Now that I'm thinking about, yeah, but can you really overspend on necessities? Absolutely. I remember sinking thousands of dollars into a car that I was trying to repair because I was trying to avoid having to replace it. And now that I think about it, I overspent on what I considered a necessity. So, uh, as I said at the top, very excited to have you with us because here I am, even as long as I've been financial coaching, it's interesting to go down into kind of the nuance of spending the way that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've read those books of you're either a spender or a saver. And I went, no, there's so much more to that. We're all spenders and we all have needs, and spending comes down to needs and needs that are not being met. And when you talked about, well, no, I'm a saver. And that's what I like about the spending types is that they're not labels in the sense of you're a shopaholic, you're a big spender. It's more just an identifier of like, this is an indicator that you overspend most in this area. Let's look into it to figure out why. But it also shows your strengths and weaknesses. So for someone like a necessity spender yourself, your strength is you're very, very clear. It's black and white as to what your needs are and what your wants are. That is not a bad thing. But then we have a lot of variation where there's some people that they refuse to buy anything for themselves that's a want. And then they'll go through these binges where my sister-in-law is a necessity spender. And I told her the description of a necessity spender, and I said, yeah, and then sometimes they can splurge on unnecessary things. And she said, yeah, that just about explains our $30,000 bathroom remodel. And so, I mean, it happens. And we don't need to be shameful about it. It just happens. And there's a reason why. And that's what I'm most curious about is the reason why. And then using your spending type as a launching pad to be, let's tailor your spending plan to your spending type. So using your strengths and weaknesses, tailoring it around your strengths, and kind of tailoring the weaknesses to where they don't impede your success financially.
So let me ask you this. Once you know my spending type because of the quiz, let's say we were sitting down and in coaching, how do you then go about identifying my predominant shopping habits? You know that I'm a necessity spender, but that doesn't necessarily tell you what my habits are just yet. And are there specific indicators or behaviors that you look for?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking for, I go into more of the reasons why we buy. And for necessity spenders, it's that need for security. And you can kind of tell me your input. I
Mm.
find that with necessity spenders, there's that need for financial security. There's that need for security with things. So we have like a nice storage for when we need things. We have a nice, backup supply for finances. We just feel secure so that when crap hits the fan, we're good. We've got our basic essentials met. But when that can go overboard is when you overbuy, when you overspend on those necessities because you feel like, oh, my stockpile is getting low. I need to overspend. I need to get that stockpile back up. And so you start looking for, do I really need this? Is it a need or is it to make me feel more secure? And that's where you kind of have to ask yourself that difficult question, like, why am I buying this? What am I seeking with this purchase? And I have to laugh. I saw my dad today, and during COVID, he was at Costco, and he called my mom and he said, oh, it's just ridiculous. All these people are just buying water. We don't need water. We don't have shortage of water. This is just ridiculous. And he comes home with cases of water. And she goes, what? You just said it was ridiculous. And he says, well, yeah, I got a little nervous. And our emotions play so heavily with needs. And he didn't need that water, but it was that emotional decision of, well, what if I need water and don't have it? And, water is one thing that is an essential. But when we're looking at um, trail mix, I had a client that was talking to me, oh, we need trail mix. So I didn't get one or two, I got 10 because we will eat it in our household. And that's where you have to ask yourself, is that a need? Do you actually need 10? What's the reason behind that? And that's why I love diving into the psychology of it and why you're doing it, because that gives you so much more insight and power rather than you can't buy this, you can't buy this. That's excessive. That's too much. I mean, everyone has different wants and needs, and you can't tell someone what to not to and to buy. They're just going to run the other way. You need to find what is most important to them and motivate them that way.
I can't help but smile a little bit because as you are sharing, I'm like, can you stop pegging me so accurately? When you mentioned the house renovation of another friend who was a necessity spender, I think about the our own home renovations that we've done, and where it was like, well, no, if we're going to do this, then we're going to do it right, and so we got to do this
Right.
and this over here, and so you overspend. As I mentioned earlier, the car, thinking about it was paid off. I did not want to get into another car payment. I did not want to have to replace it. So here I was repairing it, but the repairs were just getting so costly, and I probably should have walked away from that car one or two repairs before I finally did, that sort of thing. And I'm just like, how can you possibly know all of this about me in such a short period of time? But it's so incredibly accurate. And so I'm just finding it incredibly insightful.
Well, thank you for sharing. It's so fun for me because this is these were all theory. It was all theory based on my spending experience and my journey and looking at my tendencies. And then when I actually put it out there for people, it was so great to be like, oh, there's other people like me. There's other people like this, and no guilt because I'm all of them. So you don't have to feel shame or anything. And it's just so great to be like, yeah, people struggle with this, and there's a reason why, and it's not bad. That's what I love about it is we often get so much shame for the spending we do, and I've been on this kick where it's like everything we buy is actually a need. It's based in a psychological need. And even down to trail mix, that we just feel like we need this. We want to have it because if we don't want to go without it. And it's that fear of going without. It's that fear of like I want to be able to provide more for my family, even if it is non-necessities like trail mix. And I just love putting it into that perspective because it takes away the guilt and the heaviness of why did I buy that, and it puts in what was I feeling when I bought that, and that's what I talk about a lot.
Hey there, budgeteers. Are you tired of feeling like your finances are running the show? Well, it's time to flip the script and take charge of your money with New Money Habits Financial Coaching. This isn't your typical financial advice. New Money Habits is about empowering you with the knowledge and tools you need to make savvy money moves and build a solid financial foundation. Here's the deal. We're offering a free discovery session to kickstart your journey to financial freedom. Yep, you heard me right. Free. In this session, one of our experienced coaches will help you to pinpoint your financial goals and create a better plan for your money. We're talking about mastering your money mindset, picking up practical money management skills, and having someone to hold you accountable along the way. So, if you're ready to kiss financial stress goodbye and say hello to a brighter financial future, then schedule your free session today to create the new money habits you need to achieve financial freedom. Okay, so once someone recognizes their shopping style, like now that I know I'm a necessity spender, what are the next steps in establishing healthier shopping habits?
Yeah. So my next step, like I said, is it helps identify where to start. So for you, you've already identified things that you tend to overspend on, even if it's not a lot, it's just little things. And then you can kind of ask yourself, do I want to overspend in that area, or do I want to put more towards the real security of financial security, or towards the luxuries and little luxuries in life? You can ask yourself those questions, but it's freeing up that money. It's finding where it's going and stopping the spending before it happens. So you have to find where that money's going. And so what I ask people to do is called a receipt analysis. And it's basically what you're doing is you're identifying your unintentional purchases in just mundane trips that classify under your spending type. So you go to the grocery store. Let's use trail mix for an example. You go to the grocery store, you need trail mix, and then you see that it's on sale. So for a necessity spender, that's like a win-win. So I have people write in their spending habit tracking sheet, and it has the reason for the visit, so why you're going, which is for groceries, and then you write the items that were bought unintentionally. So the trail mix was intended, but 10 trail mix was not intended. So then you write the reason why. Why did you buy it? It was on sale. You needed it. It was on sale. And then you felt like you wanted to stock up. You wanted to fill back your stockpile. And that captures so much of our decision making during the trip to the store that just tracking your spending doesn't catch. You would just see, I spent $200 at Walmart. What does that tell you? Nothing. It doesn't tell you your thought process. It doesn't tell you anything. And so that's what I have people start doing. And the truth is, you're not going to have only necessity spending happen. You're going to have the candy bar that slips into your cart, and you bought it. It wasn't intended because you deserved it. It's been a hard day. For those emotional spenders, or the bargain spenders. There was a 10 for 5. And so it was like, I've got to take advantage of this deal. I don't want to miss out on this deal because I'm going to need it in a few months. And so you just write down those things, because that's what encompasses our overspending. They're not necessarily bad things, but they're things that we go at the end of the month. Where did all the money go? That's where it went. But we don't realize it as it's happening. And I try to get people to analyze it and see while it's happening.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is it's helping them to discover the how and the why.
Yep.
How is it that I spent or overspent, and why did I overspend? Which we always focus on the what, right? Like I overspent, and so now I have to get that particular category under control or whatever. But without any true indication as to how or why, I just really appreciate the level of detail that you're having somebody reflect on.
And then it makes it like easier to cut back, because if you're realizing you can look back at your record and see I overspent in these areas, and as a result, I had to cut back in this area, or we have to cut back next month. That hurts more. And you realize, wow, those 10 bags of trail mix really weren't worth it. They may have filled that need of filling the stockpile, but they sure didn't feel good on the wallet and on my budget, and I would much rather do something else. And so it seems insignificant at the time, but when you look at it after the fact, it really you start to make that connection of my impulse decisions. They make up for that overspending.
Hmm. When somebody finally realizes that their shopping style, and now they're establishing some of these healthier habits, they're logging what they did and why they did it. What are some of the common pitfalls or challenges people face when trying to change these shopping habits, and how do you recommend they overcome them?
I would say a common one is to see how many pitfalls happen and to go the all or nothing approach. And it's like, oh, forget
Mm.
it. I'm not going anywhere. And I have people track the in purchases, but the next step, the deeper step, is what led you to the store in the first place, and what led you to start scrolling Amazon. And I'll have people go on these spending binges, and they're just like, I just want to get away. I don't want to be restricted. I don't. And they spend, and then they don't capture the moment with learning. And so seeing these pitfalls as like failures, I say like don't get out the beating stick, get out the stick of like curiosity. Like let's do some detective work so like this doesn't happen again, or when this happens again, it's not as severe. Or, you're just working that muscle, you're getting more aware because these are spending habits that have been happening for years and years and years, and you've never had to think twice about them. So it's not going to happen overnight. And so that's a common pitfall, is seeing them as failures rather than like a stepping stone. And another one is, again, that all or nothing, but just realizing that every time you decide to put something back, to not buy something, to buy less of something, or to not go to the store at all, you are working that muscle and you're building that endurance to spending less.
We've run out of time on today's special episode of the New Money Habits podcast. Be sure to join us again next time when we continue our conversation with Mary Ann Stenquist, the money makeover and spending coach on a mission to help people curb their overspending. That does it for this episode of the New Money Habits podcast. Remember, if you have any questions, make sure to hit us up on social at New Money Habits and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please consider leaving a 5-star rating and review to help us spread this message of hope to people looking for a better plan for their money.